Let us begin. This is what happened during the time of King Ahasuerus, who reigned from his royal throne in the citadel of Susa, the fortress capital of Persia. In the 3rd year of his reign, he gave a banquet lasting 7 days for all the people, from the least to the greatest. On the 7th day, the king commanded Queen Vashti to come before him in order to display her beauty to the people and nobles. But when Queen Vashti refused to come, the king became furious and burned with anger. Then he consulted with his experts in matters of law and justice.
According to the law, what must be done to Queen Vashti? She has not obeyed the command of the king.
Queen Vashti has done wrong not only against the king, but also against all the nobles and all the peoples of the provinces of King Ahasuerus, for the queen's conduct will become known to all women. So women everywhere will despise their husbands and say,
King Ahasuerus and Queen Vashti to be brought before him, but she will not come.
Therefore, if it pleases the king, let a royal order be written in the laws of Persia and Media, which cannot be repealed, that Vashti is never again to enter the presence of the king. Also let the king give her royal position to someone else who is better than she.
The king was pleased with this advice, so he sent orders to all the parts of the kingdom, proclaiming in the language of all the people that every man should be ruler over his own household. Later, the king remembered Vashti and what she had done. Then the king's personal attendants proposed,
let a search be made for beautiful young virgins for the king and place them in harem under the care of Haggai, the king's eunuch. Then let the girl who pleases the king be made queen instead of Vashti.
Very good. Well, the king liked this advice and he followed it. When the king's order was proclaimed, many girls were brought to the harem.
Now there was in the citadel of Susa a Jewish man from the tribe of Benjamin named Mordecai. He had a cousin named Hadassah, also known as Esther, whom he had adopted as his own daughter when her father and mother died. When she was brought to the harem, Esther did not reveal her nationality, just as Mordecai had instructed her. Every day he walked back and forth near the courtyard of the harem to find out how Esther was and what was happening to her. When Esther's turn came to go before the king, he was attracted to her more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor.
From this day on, Esther will be queen instead of Vashti. Let us place a royal crown upon her head, and let this day be a holiday throughout all the provinces.
Good? Beautiful. Okay. Act 1, Scene 3. King, Esther, and narrator 3.
A short time later, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, 2 of the king's officers became angry and planned to assassinate King Ahasuerus. Mordecai overheard the plot and told Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king.
O king, there is an evil plot by 2 of your officers. It was discovered by a good and honorable man named Mordecai.
Very well. My nobles will investigate this report. And if it is true, those two officials shall be hanged on the gallows.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that is exactly what happened.
Okay. After these events, King Ahasuerus gave Haman the Agagite a place of honor above all other nobles. Everyone bowed down and revered Haman. But Mordecai would not bow down or give him reverence. Then the royal officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai,
Why do you disobey the king's command?
Because of my faith, I cannot bow down to anything or any person.
Day after day they spoke to him, but Mordecai refused to comply. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down, he became very angry. And when he learned who Mordecai's people were, he looked for a way to destroy not only Mordecai, but all the Jewish people in the kingdom. In order to choose a day for their destruction, they cast the pur, meaning the lot, in the presence of Haman, and the lot fell on the 12th month, the month of Adar.
Then Haman said to the king,
There are certain people called Jews, scattered among the provinces of your kingdom, who keep themselves separate. The customs are different from those of all other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. It is not the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let us order to be given to destroy them, and I will put 10,000 talents of silver into the royal treasury. Cha-ching!
So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, saying,
Keep the money, Haman, but you do whatever you want to these people.
Okay, let me see.
The royal secretaries were summoned, and orders were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with the order to destroy all the Jews, young and old, women and little children, on a single day, the 13th day of the month of Adar. In every province to which the order of the king came, there was great sadness among the Jews. When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the city, crying bitterly. When Esther's maids came and told her about Mordecai, she was very upset. She sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. Then Esther sent an attendant to speak to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate.
A terrible thing's about to happen. Go back and tell Esther to go to the king, to beg for mercy and plead with him for her people.
The attendant went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai,
All the people of the kingdom know that anyone who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned will be put to death. What can I do?
When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer.
Do not think that since you live in the king's house, you will escape the coming destruction. For if you remain completely silent at this time, then relief and deliverance for the Jewish people will come from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. For who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this.
Amen.
Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai.
Go and fast for 3 days. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish.
On the third day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the palace. The king was sitting on his royal throne in the hall facing the entrance. When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he held out to her the gold scepter that was in his hand. So Esther approached the king.
What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom it will be given to you.
If it pleases the king, let the king, alongside with Haman, come to a banquet that I have prepared for you.
Bring Haman at once, so that we may do what Esther asks.
So the king and Haman went to the banquet that Esther had prepared. As they were drinking wine, the king asked Esther,
Now, what is your petition? It will be given to you.
If the king regards me with favor, let the king with Haman come again to another banquet I will prepare for them. Then I'll answer the king's questions.
Haman? No? Haman?
Haman went out that day in a happy mood. But when he arrived at the king's gate and saw that Mordecai still did not honor him, he became very angry at Mordecai. Later at his home, Haman told his wife and friends about all the ways the king had honored him.
I'm the only person Queen Esther invited to join the king at her banquet tomorrow. But all this gives me no satisfaction as long as I see that Jew, Mordecai, sitting at the king's gate.
His wife Zeresh recommended that he build a gallows and asked the king to have Mordecai hanged on it. Haman liked the idea, so he had the gallows built.
Later that night, King Ahasuerus could not sleep. So he ordered the book of the Chronicles, the record of his reign, to be read to him. There in the book was the record of the time when Mordecai had exposed the 2 officers who planned to kill the king.
Wow, what honor and recognition has Mordecai received for this?
Nothing has been done for him.
I see. Look, here comes Haman. I shall ask him. Haman, what do you think should be done for the man the king delights to honor?
Who would the king want to honor more than me? Therefore, have servants bring the royal robe and a horse with the royal crest on its head. Let them put the robe on the man whom the king wants to honor and lead him to the horse through the city streets, proclaiming, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor."
Very well, Haman. Get the robe and the horse. Do just as you have suggested. And do it for Mordecai, the Jewish man who sits at the king's gate.
Mordecai, come on up here.
Haman was shocked because he thought the king was going to honor him. And so he put the robe on Mordecai and led him on horseback through the city streets, proclaiming before him,
This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor. This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor.
Afterward, Mordecai returned to the king's gate, and Haman rushed home with his head covered in grief, but he was soon summoned to the banquet of Queen Esther. So the king and Haman went to dine with Esther, and as they were drinking wine on that second day, the king again asked,
Queen Esther, what is your petition? It will be given to you. What is your request? I will give you up to half the kingdom.
If I have found favor with you, O king, and if it pleases your majesty, grant me my life. This is my petition. And spare my people. This is my request. For there has been an evil plot to destroy us.
Who is the man who has dared to do such thing?
The enemy is this terrible Haman.
The king got up in a rage and went out into the palace garden. But Haman, realizing that the king was deciding what to do with him, stayed behind to beg Esther for his life. Just as the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet hall, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was resting.
Will he even harm the queen while she is with me in the house?
As soon as the word left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. So they hanged Haman on the gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. And when Esther told how she was related to Mordecai, he was brought into the presence of the king. The king took off his signet ring, which he had reclaimed from Haman, and presented it to Mordecai. Esther again pleaded with the king about the evil plan of Haman against the Jewish people.
If it pleases the king, let an order be written overruling the one that Haman gave to destroy the Jews in all the king's provinces. For how can I bear to see disaster fall on my people?
No order written in the king's name and sealed with his ring can be changed. But another order can be written in the king's name for the Jewish people.
This order shall give the Jewish people in every city the right to assemble and protect themselves.
In every province, wherever the order went, there was much celebrating. And many people in other nationalities became Jews in that day. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, the original order was to be carried out. But on this day, when the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, the Jewish people fought back and defeated their enemies. On the 14th day, the people of the city rested, and on the 15th day, the people in the countryside rested.
Let everyone celebrate these days as the time when the Jewish people got relief from their enemies, when their sorrow was turned into joy and their sadness into celebration.
Because of everything that happened, the Jews established the custom of observing these days for their descendants and anyone else who joins them. This holiday, called Purim, meaning lots, should be remembered in every generation by every family and in every city. King Ahasuerus imposed tribute throughout the empire to its distant shores. Mordecai, a Jewish man, became second in rank to the king and was held in high esteem because he worked for the good and spoke for the welfare of the Jewish people. Everybody rise, rise. Let's give a bow.